Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. It's very good to see all of you again. Stream quality should be okay. I have no other applications besides OBS running, so if it is, I'm not sure why. You know what? Let me check before we get into this. Let me go ahead and check. No, I don't see anything else taking up memory or CPU power, so don't know what that is. Hopefully it's running smoother now. We're clear on my end? All right, appreciate that. All right, welcome back, everybody. It's very good to see you. So, let's get into it. It has been one crazy week. I am also noticing, there we go, a little bit too much glare. I went ahead and, yeah, that's a lot better. Went ahead and closed the blinds a little bit. So, let's recap. When we left, I was prepping to compete for Mr. Supranational USA 2025 in Miami, Florida. Since then, I've flown to Miami, competed, had a good time, done quite a lot, come back, immediately gone back to work, immediately started rehearsing for International Fashion Week Honolulu, and last night performing, I don't want to say starring, but it seemed like a lot of the designers thought that I ought to be the star in International Fashion Week Honolulu. As you can tell by the dismal state of my apartment in the background, I have not had time to even unpack, let alone do, I mean, hell, I haven't even had the time to put up the flag of the greatest state in the union back up on my wall. I have it folded respectfully right here in front of me. But if you were wondering, hey, why isn't the Hawaii flag up? It's because I took it to Miami to represent, and I also took it to International Fashion Week Honolulu to represent when I got coronated. I walked with this right behind me. So, and then y'all will see the video of it. I took it, walked behind, then when I got to the front, boom, yes. So I thought that's pretty good. Anyway, go ahead and fold this up. Respectfully, as one would fold the United States flag. And we place it with care in the cubby. All right. So, I'm going to do this in reverse order because that's what actually kind of makes sense. So, let's talk about last night first. Last night, well, I'll talk about Thursday first. Thursday was, I had come back, I had flown 17 hours from, actually, I guess I'll start when I flew back. 17 hours total, including getting up, going to the airport, flying to San Francisco, a layover in San Francisco, flying to Hawaii, and then getting from Honolulu International Airport to my house, or to here. Long day, and then immediately when I got home, I got told that some of the ginangs, which is an endearing term for Filipina matriarch. So in Hawaii, in the fashion scene here, from my experience, it seems that it's largely run by Filipinos, and in particular, it's largely run by Filipina mothers, aunties, and grandmothers, and that is meant in the nicest possible way because they are the sweetest ladies you can possibly imagine, and boy, oh boy, can they cook up a storm. We're talking pancit, we're talking banana lumpia, we're talking pork lumpia, we're talking those green mangoes with the shrimp paste. Oh man, talking fresh fruit of all kinds. Pies, cakes. It was a very, very delicious evening. But I got back. It was good to see everybody from the local scene. They were all very proud of me, and that seemed to be a recurring theme through Thursday and Friday. Thursday, I had to work and tried to work as long as I could. So that way Friday I could leave a little bit early and get to the show as early as possible. Then the rehearsal went pretty well, all things considered. I got fitted by... Originally, I was only supposed to walk in 2 design shows. I ended up walking in, I think, 5. So that worked out pretty well. A lot of the designers saw me on Friday, and they're like, oh, yeah, we want him. Come with me. And then I just ended up walking for a lot more, which was great. I don't mind that. Get ready, because some of the outfits are, even for high fashion, pretty wild. I'm going to be honest, and this is not a critique. This is not a criticism. This is merely an observation. I think yesterday I wore the single gayest thing I have ever put on my body. I'll put it that way. It is... I mean, it's one of those things where I would unironically look at someone dead in the eyes and say, bitch, please, I look fabulous. So that was quite fun. But pictures from International Fashion Week Honolulu are to come. If you've been following on my Instagram, link in if you type in Instagram or socials or Linktree, it'll show up. If you've been following my Instagram, you're already starting to see a lot of the pictures from Mr. Supranational. We will get to that. I'm gonna recap last night since it's fresh on my mind. I have also, if you can't tell by the bags under my eyes, suffered immensely in terms of sleep quality. This upcoming week, I am going to make it a priority to fuck off at about 8 p.m. from anything online. So if you see me online after 8 p.m. Hawaiian Standard Time, tell me to get the fuck to bed. Help me out here. Anyway, so Friday comes. Mercifully, because of Memorial Day upcoming, the commander at the shipyard gave us 59 minutes of admin leave, which is very gracious of him. It is always appreciated, and I really like the way he has ran the yard. I have nothing but positive things to say. He holds town halls to try and get ideas for improving the yard. It's just nothing but the best. Anyway, with regards to the shipyard, Friday actually we got the final. If you've been paying attention to the news with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, they've been having federal workers put in these 5 bullet point status reports, basically, to try and figure out what people do. There have been a lot of complaints from the worker side and the labor union side. Frankly, I think they're overblown. 5 bullet points takes you like 30 seconds to type out. Like, come on, it's not that big of a deal. Now, you're going to repeat some of these things if you do repetitive work, which everyone to a limited degree does. But the point is here, it should not be that hard to figure out 5 things you did. So that there are legitimate criticisms to be had about Doge, to be had about the Trump administration, but that's not one of them. And federal workers who are whining about that, yeah, I would call it whining. Come on. It's 5 bullet points. It's just not that hard. That is not a big ask. Well, it ended yesterday, and they asked, and I was really thrilled by this, actually. They asked for everyone as a finale to this what are you doing kind of analysis of what federal employees do. They asked all of us, if there was one improvement you could make to your department, what would it be and how would you do it? And that's a great thing to ask. I'm very impressed that they asked me that. That gives me a lot more optimism that meaningful change can be made, because yes, the United States federal government is inefficient. Okay, almost any government is inefficient, but this one, look, the Department of Defense has failed its last, 5 audits? That's not acceptable, okay? Yeah, maybe Elon and Doge, maybe there is a little bit of fat that we could trim. Honestly, I wish, especially with DOD, Elon and Doge had trimmed a little bit more, but, it's a Republican administration. Cuts to DOD are almost verboten. It is what it is. Regardless, I submitted my suggestions. The big 2 were that the nuclear industry is grossly overregulated, and hallelujah, we're going to talk about the Trump administration here for a moment. I am not pro-MAGA. I did not vote for Donald Trump. However, there are some things he's doing that I am a huge, huge fan of. The biggest one that just came out is that Donald Trump just signed an executive order that is going to cut the power of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And if you are one of the people out there that believes truly from the heart climate change is the biggest threat to humanity in the 21st century, you should be nothing short of ecstatic about this. The reason being that nuclear power plants, which produce no carbon, take years to get licensed and approved by the NRC. The NRC is a massive bottleneck, and frankly, they drag their feet and have been doing that since the 1970s. It is grossly overdue to make them do their jobs instead of make them figure out every possible fucking scenario, unrealistic as they come. For instance, what if a tsunami floods 100 miles inland to the Vogtle nuclear power plant in Georgia? Sorry. If Vogtle is underwater, that means the entire eastern fucking seaboard has gone underwater, and we've got much bigger problems, okay? That means New York City, Philadelphia, DC, Baltimore, Savannah, Miami, Jacksonville, they're all fucking dead, okay? So in that scenario, Vogtle is not at the top of the priorities list, but it just delusional takes that the NRC does. So I really do not have a very high opinion of the speed bumps at the NRC. So I'm very, very happy that the Trump administration is rightfully gutting their power and making them focus on actually doing their job instead of trying to find reasons to block nuclear power. If any other industry was regulated like the nuclear industry, it would cease to exist. Okay, all right. There are plenty of things I don't like that this administration is doing. If you want to ask, I can talk about them. But that is unquestionably some of the best news I have heard in years. As a nuclear engineer and a nuclear worker, look, if you are serious about cutting carbon emissions, nuclear energy has to be part of the solution at this point. We don't have the luxury of both trying to slash carbon emissions as fast as the scientists tell us we need to avoid massive environmental damage due to climate change, and also not doing nuclear power. We don't have that luxury. We need to be embracing every form of energy that gets us the fuck off of fossil fuels as fast as possible. Yes, nuclear has its downsides. You do have to account for waste. However, we can either recycle waste. Speaking of, that's been illegal in the United States since 1977 for stupid fucking reasons, I might add. Carter backstabbed our industry. He knew better too, and he backstabbed our industry because he was a fucking pussy. Yeah, I'm gonna be blunt about that. The dude was a nuclear engineer for the U.S. Navy, and he caved to public pressure after 3 Mile Island. Pathetic. I like Jimmy Carter as a man. I've worked with Habitat for Humanity, but that was an absolute knife to the back of the nuclear industry. He should have stood up for us, and he didn't. He could have, and he didn't. This is why people call him an ineffective president, and they're right. Anyway, but this is unbelievably good news. If you care about climate change, if you care about getting rid of fossil fuels, if you care about stopping the damage big oil, coal, and natural gas do every fucking day to our environment, causing things like emphysema, lung cancer, this is nothing short of an unbelievable win that should be celebrated. And it won't be because a controversial administration did it and because people don't understand nuclear power. Okay, rant over. I had to talk about that because I could make an entire video alone just on this topic. I am so happy about it. Anyway, so the International Fashion Week show, it went pretty darn well. I got there in the afternoon. We rehearsed. I got fitted. The show went on. Oh, that was an amazing dinner. Was not expecting that. I was kind of expecting to be hungry the entire show. I was most certainly not. Again, an amazing. This is Filipinos do not leave you hungry ever. Okay. I love Filipino culture because, like, man, at least here in Hawaii, Filipinos make sure you get fed. Always, no exceptions. We had coconut curry shrimp. We had terry chicken. We had roasted beef skewers, fried rice, because, come on. We had dim sum, shrimp shumai, had gyoza, lumpia, and then fresh fruit and yogurt, And it wasn't junk food. It wasn't crap. It was really healthy, delicious food. I was not expecting that. That was an absolute treat. And this is why I love working with MGI Entertainment and International Fashion Week as a production company at large. They treat their models really fucking well. So hats off to my producer, Buboy Asuncion. He's never going to see this video. That doesn't matter to me. He is nothing short of the best. I love the guy, and he is a master of his craft. Credit to the designers. I walked for Edgar, I forget what his last name is off the top of my head. 4 hours of sleep. You're going to have to forgive me for a few of these things. Kel Ortega, who I have the biggest soft spot for. The dude is an absolute teddy bear. He is just the nicest guy in the world. And Kenneth Barlas, I walked for the three of them. I walked for the introduction, which was just a swimwear piece, which, I mean, come on, that's hitting my wheelhouse, ain't it? And then I got coronated. I got to walk out as Mr. Supranational Hawaii, and I got to answer a brief question. I was told I was going to answer 3 questions, and that's why I made my response brief. So I actually want to talk about this a little bit. I walked out bearing the flag of the greatest state in the Union. I really do mean that. I'm not trying to be gracious to this state. Look, I've been to 42 U.S. states, and no offense to North Dakota, but I don't think the other 8 are going to compete with this one. And I know the other 41 don't. I have never lived anywhere for longer than 4 years, and yet, in the 1 year that I have lived here, I have never been healthier, I have never been happier, I have never felt more at home, and I've never felt more accepted. I know that there are historical flies in the ointment of Haole Americans coming to Hawaii and not living Pono. So Pono is Olelo Hawaii for living with righteousness, or living in balance, or living responsibly. There is a Native Hawaiian teacher on Instagram that I follow that actually has a settler course that if I can make the schedule work, I really want to take, because I not only am I just enamored with Hawaiian culture because it's fucking cool, but right, when you move to a new place, okay, and this is one where I can speak from experience because I've fucking done it God knows how many times at this point. When you move to a new place, you should learn about the best parts of that place, and you should figure out why people are proud to live in that place. For instance, if you move to the great state of Texas, a place that has a very deep and close place to my heart, a state that I absolutely adore, and that, well, if it weren't for this one, would definitely be, in the running for the top state in the U.S. in my book. If you move to Texas, you will find that people are unbelievably proud of their state's heritage, because Texas used to be an independent country. Texas fought for its independence in a bloody war against the Mexicans. And there is still that very powerful state pride feeling. I adore that. I think that's part of what makes the United States really special, is that people have state pride. ENB, you always talking about how much you're proud to be, I guess not so much Illinois, but the Midwest. You're very proud of that. Big Red Fro, I know you've talked about how much you love the bluegrass stakes. You're from Kentucky. That makes me happy. When I lived in South Carolina, I was proud to be there, and I learned a lot about the heritage of the state, and both for good and for bad, the history, right? So South Carolina has a very fascinating state history. It's a dark one. South Carolina tried to nullify a lot of federal laws in the early 18th century. It was notably the first state to secede and the place where the Civil War got started in the U.S. However, there is a lot of incredible amazing stories about the Palmetto State as well. And I have nothing short of love and respect for the residents in the Palmetto State. But the same should apply when you move to any new place. I really do believe that. I believe that from the heart. Here in particular, Hawaii has a history it's a history and a culture that matches the landscape. What do I mean by that? Well, in Hawaii, there are flora and fauna species that you literally don't see anywhere else on the planet that have evolved to grow and live here. Likewise, the culture here, which is especially here on Oahu, a blend of Kanaka Maoli, the natives, right, native Hawaiians, other Polynesians, think Samoa, all the way from what is now New Zealand. I think it's, I always hate saying this because I feel like I butcher it, Aotearoa, I believe. I think I said that right. For any Maori that watched this video, sorry. Also sorry about the fly buzzing around in here. I gotta kill that fucker. But anywhere, Guam, anywhere between, Oceania and here, you get lots of cultures from there. You've got loads of Filipino culture. You've got white American culture. You've got black American culture here. It's a small percentage of the population, but there are blacks on this island. There are Puerto Ricans on this island. A lot of Portuguese came here. Chinese, Japanese, and Koreans as well. And it comes to be this just incredible melting pot of culture. So I really adore that about the state in general, Hawaii in general, but Oahu in particular, where I live. So the culture here being so unique and the history being, again, there are some dark spots, definitely some dark spots. Just off the top of my head, the years 1893, 1898, and 1941 come to mind. But people are very, very proud of being from this state, and they should be. I understand that, and I'm going to try and do what I can while I'm in this state for however long I may be blessed to be here. Hopefully it's a long time, we'll see, to learn it. Especially because, again, and now this is a good transition into the Mr. Supranational part of this stream. I was blessed to represent America's greatest state on the national stage. So, let's talk Mr. Supranational. I'm gonna get a drink. Okay. Good to see you, Omega. Good to see you. All right. So, let's see. The 13th, after getting through work, I headed to Daniel K. Inouye International Airport in Honolulu, flew out in the evening, and flew basically overnight on a red eye. I hate red eyes, but unfortunately, there's really, when you get to the mainland, especially the East Coast during summer, you are 6 time zones behind them here in Hawaii. As a result of that, it's kind of inevitable that you are going to lose some sleep at some point along the trip. So flew a red eye, did not get good sleep at all, like maybe 1 hour total on the plane. I did get a great seat. The guy at the airport hooked me up. So shout out dude at the airport. Not shout out United, you suck. I flew United because I had a reward with them. I'm going to go back to flying Hawaiian immediately. United is not... I don't even say United sucks, but United is substantially worse than Hawaiian. Okay, we're going to tier list airplanes or airlines in the U.S. real quick. Okay, you got Hawaiian up here. Alaska and Delta are in the next tier down. They're as good as you can expect an airline to be. Then below that you have the do I have to tier, which is American and United. Then you have the, for the love of God, please no tier, which is Southwest and JetBlue. Then you have the I will not fly with this airline under any circumstances tier, which is Spirit and Frontier. Okay? If I missed an American airline somewhere in there, let me know, but I think I got the big ones. So Yeah, no, United is nowhere near as good an airline as Hawaiian. If you are coming out to this state, fly Hawaiian. It's just better. You're gonna understand. It's the flight attendants are way nicer. You get little you'll get little snacks. Regardless of, even if you're in basic economy, you'll still get a pog nectar and a cookie from the Honolulu Cookie Company if you want them anywhere. So no, it's just United and American are basically the same company to me. They are the standard nickel and dime American airline experience. But they suck compared to United, or compared to Hawaiian. Alaska, and I will say Alaska and Delta of the national airlines are a little bit better. I'm a little bit nervous to see how Alaska handles integrating Hawaiian. I would like to think they're not gonna screw with Hawaiian too much because they understand Hawaiian's business model. We'll see. Anyway, so really long flight, and then 6 hours of flying here, bothering me, flying around my head. 6 hours of time zone difference meant I got in on the 14th, flew in through Denver, got a good meal. Shout out Capital One Lounge. If any of y'all want a really good travel points rewards card, hit me up. I can give you a referral. You can get like $250 as a result. It's a great credit card if you travel a lot. Stopped in at Denver, hit the lounge for food, and a little bit of a nap, and then flew from Denver to Miami. First night I stayed in my own hotel, paid out of pocket for that, because with 6 hours of jet lag, I could have showed up there on the 15th, the day the competition actually began, and I wouldn't have lost anything, but I would have been exhausted. I would have felt like shit. So I'm very glad I didn't. So I flew in the 14th, tried to get my body at least somewhat in better nick before the competition began. So the 15th was my 30th birthday. So I turned 30 at competition. I'm going to be honest. People say, oh, that must have been great. You got to go visit Miami for your 30th birthday. No, I'd have rather stayed here, and it's not particularly close again. You know what I really wanted to do for my 30th birthday? I would have wanted to do what I do every single fucking weekend, and that is lift weights, stream, and then go for a hike. I'm just not a complicated guy. Ludan, welcome on in. I am not Hawaiian. I appreciate that. I am a resident of Hawaii, but Hawaiian is an ethnicity, not a statehood term. Yeah, Hawaiian Airlines generally only flies to the West Coast on the mainland. I think I've seen them fly to Denver, and I think I've seen them fly to Dallas and Houston, but I think that's as far east as they go. We got United, Delta, American Frontier, and Breeze. Ooh, I don't even know what Breeze is. Yeah, out of those, Omega, I would fly Delta. Delta's definitely the best of those. Generally speaking, I've never had a bad experience with Delta. I think they're pretty good. The only negative I will give Delta is that inevitably it means you'll have to spend time at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta, which sucks, but you know, that's Delta's hub. I get it. Anywho, so got in on the 15th. We had it was pretty chill the first day, a couple photo shoots, and then kind of really just meeting everyone. That was fun. And then we had a dinner where we did a sashing ceremony. So we got these sashes, okay? So this one is mine, and it shows Mr. Supranational, USA. I was the contestant from the greatest state in the Union, Hawaii. So really, really big honor to be sashed with this. And frankly, I got a second sash. We'll get to that later. I'm more proud of this one than that one. Just how I feel. As for the second day of the competition. So first night we slept. We got roommates. They weren't just roommates, they were bedmates. The women got separate, larger rooms, which makes sense. They need more space because the women have much more elaborate dress outfits and therefore more luggage, not to mention all the shoes that they need to wear for high fashion. I totally get why they gave women more space. However, sharing a bed? Really? Come on. I wasn't really comfortable with that. I'm not gonna lie. I like my personal space. For a short 5-year period, we had Air Canada, and for 20 years, we had JetBlue. Yeah, that tracks. Well, I mean, what you could do if you ever do decide to visit out here, you know, I'd say you fly whatever airline to the West Coast and then fly Hawaiian from there. That's what I would do if I were in your situation. I'm just saying, if you ever do visit Hawaii, definitely fly Hawaiian. They just treat you better. As for... So the 16th, started out, I hit a workout early. The hotel actually had a pretty decent little gym. Not much on the dumbbells, only went up to 50 pounds, but the cable machine was pretty good. And I've gotten to the point where I can get a decent workout with a cable machine. Not a great one, and I can really only do a pull workout with cables. But between pull-ups, you can do rows of cable machines, single arm pull downs, face pulls, you can get something done. Bayesian curls, it's not bad. Lat raises, things of that nature. So hit a workout. The hotel did have a really great breakfast buffet that we were able to have, so stoked on that. Was definitely keen to fill up a lot because with the way these modeling pageants work, I didn't know when I was going to have the next chance to eat. So it's like, I'm going to demolish this free buffet with tons of good food. I was housing milk, like 4 or 5 cups minimum. Shit was great. Because, I mean, y'all already know my fondness for dairy and how ungodly expensive it is out here. So when I'm offered free milk, what do you think I'm going to do? Anyway, second day, we had more photo shoots. And again, a lot of the pictures are up on Instagram at this point. You can check my page. You already know what it is. You can check the Supranational. That's Supranational, not Supernational. Just to be clear, and not Supernatural, which I had someone call me that yesterday. No, Supranational, like the old Toyota. Supranational. Instagram page that got loads of pictures of me and of all the other models, many of whom were just really incredible people. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people I've got a lot of respect for, and I'll do that at the end when I kind of summarize everything. We had the top model fashion show and the swimsuit show that night. Crazy had to share beds. Imagine all the states participated. Right? I was expecting more states to show up, and I'll get to why some didn't in a minute, but we'll come back to that one. With regards to the competition and shoots of the 16th, we did some swimsuits. We did the top model show, which had 4 different designs we had to wear. The first was they called it a colorful outfit. I decided to do a Versace style theme. We were in Miami after all. So I think the judges liked that a lot. The second one was a 90s theme. Now, at no point were we ever told this had to be high fashion. If it was, I would have probably taken a little bit of a different tack because high fashion's very deadpan, you know, face kind of like that. Just very, very serious. And for the 90s one, I definitely went a lot more casual. There was a famous Calvin Klein ad where Mark Wahlberg, and this is from 1992, so young Mark Wahlberg, when he called himself Marky Mark, he was jacked back then. He dead ass kind of looked like me in a lot of ways. Goes out on stage with pants sagging and advertises the underwear. It does a lot more explicit stuff, which I toned way down for this. And I basically mimicked that because it's an iconic runway scene from the 90s. The judges hated this. And I'm pretty sure it cost me pretty dearly in the overall competition. I could tell, like, the judges were, like, I could tell they were visibly annoyed by this outfit. Which, I mean, you know, if you didn't want me to do this, you could have said it was high fashion. But you know what? Hey, I took a gamble. I lost on that one. It is what it is. The third one, which I thought was fabulous, was sort of a do-it-yourself high fashion type thing. I recycled an old gown and some pink shorts I had from a previous runway show I did with a cape behind me. And I got the cape, the sweep motion of the cape as I came to the front. Picture perfect. I know I did well on that one. And if the judges gave me a low score on that one, then I clearly misunderstood this assignment. I felt like I nailed that one, but the 90s one definitely hurt me. And the fourth one, we had a custom designer. His name was Idol Jose. You can look him up on Instagram if you'd like to. And he had this all black upcycled outfit. Really cool guy. I think he was originally from Venezuela, moved here, lives in Miami. Really liked the outfit. It was black pants and this black sort of down jacket. Something that would have looked great for winter in, well, basically anywhere that isn't Miami. It was very warm. Again, if you were selling that in New York, smash hit. I don't know how many people in Miami would ever be interested in wearing that, because it just doesn't get very cold there. Anywho, I think I did well on that one. And then the swimsuit, I think I crushed that. Frankly, and this is not to take anything away from the other contestants. Objectively speaking, I was in the best physical shape. There were other guys in good physical shape. That is not to take anything away from them, but like if you put all of us under a squat rack, I'm moving the most weight, and it's probably by a substantial margin. So that was Thursday, or not Thursday. Yeah, that was Thursday. Let's see. Today's the 24th, 17th is Saturday. No, that was Friday, sorry. Friday, yeah. The days are blending together. Anywho, we were fed pretty well this entire time. There were some really great dinners. I was impressed by that. Then we had the show, which was on the 17th. Or was it the 18th? God, they're all blending together. The next day we had the show. For the show, we went to the Flamingo Theater in Brickell in Miami. It's a pretty cool venue, and we got to do a lot of practice, a lot of run-throughs. They had a plan for how it was organized. I think there were some items lost in translation with one of the directors of the show who didn't speak very good English, and some of us who didn't speak very good Spanish. We had a couple models translate. I would suggest to the Supranational organization that it would probably be a good idea to have someone follow Magali around and help translate for her in the future. It can be anyone you like, but I think that's going to make things it's going to make things a lot smoother, because it'll make sure that what Magali wants actually happens, and that things don't get lost in translation. Just a suggestion. Again, I'm not trying to tell the Supranational organization how to suck eggs, because they know how to do that job of putting on the show a lot better than I do. That just one I would recommend. Another one I would recommend is poor Alan was overextended. He was trying to do too much on his own. He needed help. He needed another person to help organize the models, set up the schedule, help the models practice, and ensure things went smoothly. I think he did a great job given the utter and severe shortage of time and resources he had to work with, but he really should have gotten someone else to help with him. I don't know, again, it could be anybody he wanted. And after the show, a couple models were talking about going the production route. If I were Magali, Allen, if you all are ever watching this, I would strongly recommend talking to some of the models who do want to go into production and getting them on your team, because that's an incredible amount of talent. And if you miss it, someone else is going to pick them up, which is going to hurt the Supranational brand. So do the smart thing here and tap into the talent that wants to work with you. We'll see whether or not they do. God knows they're never going to watch this, but that's, again, not a criticism of what they're doing, but an opportunity that's staring them in the face. Because I know Alan wants to take this to an even bigger stage. Alan wants all 50 states competing. Alan, by the way, was Mr. Supranational USA 2024. And again, he did a great job. Given the amount of stuff he had to do as only one person, with all of the things that were going on in his personal life. He was he's trying to graduate from college. He had exam week like right before this. So again, a lot of respect for how he did things to the best of his ability, but the dude needed another person to help him. I don't think that's an unfair thing to say. Just seriously, I think if their goal is if your goal is to make this a truly 50-state national competition, you need to do that. You need to have more than 2 people running the show. You've got to have more help. Final day. So we practiced more or less all afternoon and morning. It was a pretty good show. We started by walking out, each one individual, announcing ourselves. So the picture of me on my Instagram where it's me with the mic, that's what I was doing. I was saying, Calvin George, Mr. Supranational Hawaii 2025 nuclear engineer. So they wanted us to say what we do for a living. So that was the first step. Then we had swimsuit, which was, again, obviously that plays to my strengths. I really enjoy swimsuit because the other reason is it requires a lot less dress up. It requires a lot less clothing that's just really fucking uncomfortable and hot to wear, especially in tropical climates like Miami or Honolulu. So it plays to my strengths, which is my body. The biggest reason I was even in this show to begin with is, oh, hey, you're 6'3" and jacked. Do you want to do this? There you go. Then we had an interlude while they had some really great performers, singers going on. And we got into our evening wear. For me, I chose a tuxedo. A lot of guys chose suits. A couple other guys chose tuxedos. Really, we were looking dapper. And oh my goodness, the ladies. We'll get into them. Their story is entirely separate. But the Miss Supranationals were unbelievably stunning. Very, very pretty much all the way down the line. I was very impressed with the way they acted. And again, I've got some shout outs that I'll talk about at the end of the broadcast. So we went through the suits and evening wear. It was a pretty standard runway show for that. Then we had the live Q&A where we each got asked one question. We got 20 seconds to answer it. I believe my first question was about child abuse, which is that's a tough one. So I did do well enough there because then they cut to the top 8 and I made that cut. And then they cut to the top. They had another round of questions, I think. Yeah. No, then they cut to the top 5, and then we had another round of questions. And I made the cut to the top 5. I was the last one to get on there, although it turned out that's not the final order. They just held the suspense there. What was interesting is that I noticed the crowd was really liking me. The crowd seemed to go nuts anytime I did anything. And when they were going for the top 5, maybe that's why they put me last, was to build up suspense. Because it was, I think, yeah, it was interesting to see how they did that. So we had one more question at the cuts of 5, which was last day on Earth, what would you do? That kind of thing. So yeah, I had my answer, and I think we got 40 seconds for that. So it's tough. You have to be able to think on your feet and not sound like a complete idiot up there. Not an easy thing to do. So then they announced the top 5. 5th place, they announced it was Mr. California. Chris Mott, really great dude. Nothing but nice things to say about him. Very smart guy. He's got an incredibly bright future ahead. Number 4, they announced it was Mr. New York. Sabarka, again, really incredible career. I think body-wise, his was pretty good. I think if I were him, I'd go on a bulk cycle and then cut and look maybe 10 pounds heavier than he is, but with a lot more muscle on his frame and shreddy, and he will kill it, especially with his resume. The dude was previously a lawyer for the UN. I mean, I don't trust lawyers, and I don't really trust the UN, but come on, that's impressive as hell. And number 3, second runner-up, yours truly. They announced me, Mr. Hawaii, as second runner-up, or in other words, third place. Which means I failed. I failed. My goal was to win the competition, as I would certainly hope all the other models were. I failed to achieve that goal. I learned a lot. I mean, this was my first competition, so there were going to be mistakes I was going to make because I was unpolished and raw. I don't think my walk was as good as the winners. I don't think my interview was as good as the winners. Oh, I completely forgot to talk about that. In the early parts of the day before the show, we had a panel interview with the other, with the 5 judges who also judged the show. I thought I did well, but I think while my answers were pretty good, I think the pacing was about right, the level of depth was about right, and tying it back was about right. I think I forgot one of the basics, which was to make good eye contact. That's been a struggle for me since childhood days. And it's because, as a military kid, we lived in Japan. Making eye contact in Japan is seen as impolite. So I picked that up, and that's been a struggle ever since. It's something I struggle with. It is a shortcoming for me as it applies to American culture. Even like most streams, I'm not directly looking at the camera. I'm looking at the screen. I'm looking at the comment section. So it's not a skill I'm very good at. So yeah, that's a shortcoming of mine. Absolutely. So those would be the big 3 in terms of where I thought I came up short. And I confirmed this with Alan eventually after the show. Because I want to learn. I want to do better if I decide to do pageantry again, which we'll get to that. But yeah, I would say my walk was slightly unpolished. It was a little bit too casual for pageantry. I had been told that I want to go more casual for pageants than for a runway show where it's very fashion, high fashion, deadpan, serious, you know, not too posy. But I think I overcorrected. They really did not like the 90s outfit I wore because that was definitely too informal, which I don't really like that I got penalized for that in the sense of you never said it had to be high fashion. If that's what you were looking for, you should have fucking said something. But I made a gamble there and I lost. Fair enough. And the third one was that I don't think I did as well in terms of the basics in the interview. I thought my question, like the way I answered the questions were pretty good. I still don't know what the scores were in the individual competitions. I hope we get that information because it's going to help us learn. If we don't, that's kind of shitty because it leaves us guessing. So Alan or Magali, if you ever do watch this, I would hope that at some point you gave us the results in a tabulated form so we can improve and become better contestants in future pageants, be they for supranationals or not. Because if some of us compete in other pageants, we can go back and say, yeah, but we were part of Supra too, and it boosts Supra's brand. So you want that. That helps the brand. Anyway, so I got announced as third, and that's what this second runner-up is. But I'm tossing this the fuck aside because, frankly, this is way more important to me. As much, unless I won, I don't. That's a failure right there. I look at that sash and I see a failure. It's a learning lesson, but it's a failure. I failed. This is much more important to me. It is. That's just how I feel. But what was wild was the crowd. They announced me as second runner-up, and the crowd booed the judges. That's how much the crowd liked me. The crowd was not pleased with the fact that I placed third. Which tells you, again, where my gaps were. My gaps were in the parts of the show and the competition the crowd didn't see. Second was Mr. Florida. I have nothing but nice things to say about this guy. He was an incredibly gracious host. His walk was excellent. His composure was very good. And I got to imagine he did pretty well in the interviews as well. We did not see the other contestants do the interviews. The answers to his questions were pretty good too. Which means the winner of Mr. Supranational USA 2025 was Mr. Texas. Mr. Texas, upon first glance, you'd be wondering, wait a minute, why did this guy win? I've got height and body size on him, but you gotta hear this guy speak. Mr. Texas has a way with words that very few people have. He's very good at the way he presents himself, and his social cause and advocacy, I think, was really, really strong. Especially because it was something that affected him directly. And his journey, he talked about this, where at one point he was, I think he said 230 pounds, and he's down to 160. And you can see on his body the progress that was made. I am unbelievably impressed by anyone who manages to do that. There is no shame in having previously been overweight, and I want to emphasize that. Now, while I say I'm very much no bullshit, right? I don't. If you are overweight, you are responsible for being overweight, but you are also responsible for the progress you make, and you should feel really good about that. So, Mr. Texas, if you ever watch this, I am nothing short of impressed with you on that account. I am also really impressed by, again, your eloquence as a speaker will carry you very far. I think you're going to do really well at competition, and I wish you nothing but the best. Not to mention, and this is something that I want to emphasize for every other model that competed in this show, male or female, you had best give your ultimate and undying support without any nasty fucking comments to Mr. Texas and to Miss Louisiana, because they are now representing the greatest country on earth. If you don't believe that, go move to a country you think is greater, okay? This is real simple. America's not perfect. But listen, I work for the United States Navy for a living. I watched my father serve for 29 years and ultimately die for his country. There's no question in my mind where my loyalties lie, and it's to the red, white, and blue. Okay? Very simple on that one. You will support, if you have any integrity or any care for the love of country at all, you will support, without question, Mr. Texas and Miss Louisiana. End of discussion. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because there was a lot of nasty shit that was spread by some of the models before and during competition. Disgusting. A lot of it was about me. I got word about some of these during and really after the show. I got told that a lot of people believed that I was the first barb was that I was a robot. That because I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't fuck around, literally in this case, I'm not promiscuous. I have no problem with people who are. Same with people who drink or smoke. That's their decision. But because I don't do those things, I'm seen as dull, boring, or just, again, a robot. Did any of you fuckers watch my video on the introduction? Did y'all not catch me jumping 30 feet off a cliff to end it? Do you think that's something a boring person would do? Maybe you do. I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty good high. You get some adrenaline rush from that. Your heart rate will hit the fucking roof. As you look down at the cliffside, yeah, you're gonna feel it. So that's the first one. The second one was that I got prematurely pegged as a strong Trump supporter, as a person who is against LGBT rights, and even as a bigot. Now, let's dissect this. First off, you could have just fucking asked me what my opinions were. You didn't. Second off, newsflash, I voted for the first homosexual, openly gay man to run for president in the United States in 2024, Chase Oliver. And what was even more galling was the fact that none of you fuckers knew that guy ran for president. None of you. Don't sit here and tell me you care about gay rights. You completely missed the fact that an openly gay American ran for president just because he was a third-party candidate. It's Chase Oliver, by the way. Look it up. That really bothers me. Just because I'm quiet about my sexuality, I'm not openly rainbow posting all the goddamn time, doesn't mean I'm a fucking homophobe. Okay? Seriously fucking uncool. Just because I don't openly post woke stuff all the fucking time, doesn't mean I'm a Trump supporter. I have nuance in my opinions. There are some right-wing opinions I have. There are some left-wing opinions I have. But to openly fucking stereotype me, because I'm tall, I'm white, I'm straight presenting, is wrong. Okay? Don't judge a book by its cover. Isn't that the whole fucking point? All you woke people, you talk about not stereotyping, right? Fucking hypocrites. The third one, this one pissed me off the most. Is that someone, he knows who he is, she knows who she is, they know who they are. I'm not going to be specific. Someone made a claim that the competition was rigged in my favor. This directly led to the dropping out of several candidates. From what I've heard, again, I'm not going to name names, but it was 2 or 3. This was because Magali made a social media post that said, "What do you think of these models?" and it had pictures of me. From my understanding, the intent was that she was going to post one model at a time, and she just happened to pick me first. I had no idea the post existed. And yet, someone thought this is a really great idea, a really great time to take advantage of this, sow discord, and sabotage a contestant. Moreover, it was a great way to denigrate the legitimacy of this competition. So in doing this, not only were you hurting me, but you were hurting yourself. Because you were making the competition, the title for which you were competing, less important and less legitimate. So whoever you were, and you know who you were, and I'm pretty sure I know who you were, I hope you can live with yourself. And it's a damn good thing you left before I had a chance to meet you. It's a really good thing. Don't fucking cross me like that. That was a mistake. I hope you can fucking sleep with yourself. That's all I'm going to say about that. Because here's a little reality for you, okay? Whoever it fucking was. Guess what? I get to return here to the greatest state in the union by a country fucking mile. I get to live here in paradise. I get to work an incredible job with incredible people doing something that matters, protecting our country. What do you have to go back to? If I want to, I could walk away from modeling, from pageantry, from my day job tomorrow, retire, and never, ever look back. I've won in life. Winners don't have to resort to sabotage. You did. You're fucking pathetic. Hope you know that. All right? All the drama and the backstabbing is disgusting. It makes me not want to do pageantry, frankly. And what's shocking is that the stereotype is that the women are the divas. No. This competition, it was absolutely the men. There were a few other people whose conduct was really unbecoming that left a very sour taste in my mouth. Again, I'm not gonna mention names, but I'm not gonna sit here and pretend everything was sunshine and rainbows. I'm gonna remain positive on Instagram because the integrity of the competition, and more importantly, Mr. and Miss Supranational USA deserve my full and undying support because they are representing the greatest country on earth. But no, I do not have a high opinion of every single person I met from this competition. I don't. I'm not gonna pretend I do. Anyway, this Jamie M says, the woke person, some people are so extreme they forget to have a real conversation, a real human about it. Right. Well, it's very easy to hate whitey. There's good historical, legitimate reasons to why people have a grievance with white people, with the military, with people who may present as straight. or with people who are maybe just more reserved about their sexuality or their politics, and they just don't openly talk about it, and they don't just woke post everywhere. This is a really good way to push people away from the causes you claim to support. There's no reason you need to knife people in the back. That's how I feel. I do feel like, and I don't think it was the determining factor in who won. I don't. I think my own shortcomings are the reason for that, and that's where I'm going to focus on. Again, my walk was unpolished. They didn't like my 90s outfit, which, again, gamble and I lost, so that's my responsibility. And I didn't make eye contact in the interviews. So, full disclosure, I know where I fucked up, and that's why I choose to believe I did not win or get second. That's why I chose to believe I got third. But any of the backstabbing, the cattiness, what the fuck is your problem, man? It's supposed to be fun. I mean, here's a couple other things she should know about me. In terms of left-wing accolades you like to talk about. I'm a proud union member, okay? Labor unions are under attack right now by this administration. I'm not for that. I work with my union, try and preserve the rights of workers. I'm a proud cycling advocate. I'm a strong believer in environmental causes to try and reduce humanity's effect on the planet. All right? There are other more progressive causes I am in favor of, but it just bothers me that I got pigeonholed like that. And that people would sow rumors and spread rumors without even ever fucking asking me about anything. There were a couple contestants. We go ahead and actually, I will name names here because this is positive. Miss Tennessee and Mr. Texas that had the balls to just straight up ask me what I thought. And they were surprised too. And neither of them, for what it's worth, neither of them knew an openly gay man ran for president in 2024 either. No judgment there, but I'm just saying. You want to pretend I'm not an ally. You want to pretend I don't care about the cause. Maybe reevaluate that. Anyway, enough of the negativity. The show itself, otherwise, is really great. You know, it ended well. Then we went out. I got kind of shanghaied into this. I was one of the last people at the show because I was helping clean up. You know, just the right thing to do. I got shanghaied into coming out to the club with some of the runway models and the producers. It was a blast. That is not something I normally do. Definitely a walk on the wild side for me. I am not one to party much. Now it's, you know, everybody else is drinking. I was still bone sober doing this. Stayed out till like 4:30 in the morning. But it was a good time. It was a good time. Definitely broke out of my shell a little bit. I actually want to thank a couple people for that. Mr. Pennsylvania, Mr. New York, Mr. California, and Miss Tennessee. All four of y'all were a big part in convincing me to cut loose a little bit, which I struggle with. I will grant. It's just not who I am. It's not my personality, and I'm a very risk-averse person. Because of my job, I have to be, right? I have an active security clearance. There are certain behaviors that I am monitored for, right? It's the reason I can't smoke weed, for instance, okay? It's the reason that if I were a heavy drinker, it would be a threat to my continued employment, for instance. But it was a really good time, and I'm very grateful that I got to have it with them. So the four of you, hats off, okay? The next day, got up, checked out of the hotel, and set up another hotel. I booked a few extra days because I wanted to go cruise around Miami and check it out. Because I've never been to South Florida or Miami, so why not? Me and Mr. Georgia found a hotel that we could split as a courtesy, as a recommendation from Miss Supranational Texas. She was also incredible. Nothing but great things to say about her. She's a lot of fun. She's a handful. Her and Miss Florida, talk about a dynamic duo right there. Woo! As for the women, by the way, before I go any further, the final five were Oregon, Colorado 5th, Colorado 4th, Texas 3rd, Florida 2nd, Louisiana 1st. You can go look that all up on Instagram. I don't really feel qualified to judge how or why women were picked or not. I could make a strong argument for why any of the top 4 should have been chosen. All 4 of them were incredible. And it's not to take anything away from Miss Oregon either. It's just, I thought in terms of stage presence, I thought the top 4, they were a tier above the other models. Just my opinion. I think, again, you can speculate as to why. The interviews were not held in public, so we don't know what was said. And again, what the judges thought, we don't know. So take that as it was. The next day, spent mostly just hanging out with Mr. Georgia. We went out to South Beach and walked on the beach. It's just really nice because it's Miami. Why wouldn't you do that? It's always funny to me too how much warmer the Atlantic is than the Pacific. Because we're further south. Hawaii, we're further south than Miami, but the water is substantially colder here. That's just an interesting note about the currents. So beyond that, what else we got? That night we went to. I got invited because I was waiting in right outside the Flamingo to pick something up and meet Mr. Virginia because he had accidentally taken one of my shoes, so I grabbed his because I was the last one in the Flamingo because I was cleaning up, and we had to exchange shoes. Which thanks for doing that, Mr. Virginia. Appreciate that. I was sitting and waiting, and I ended up talking story with a guy who was putting on Mr. Global Cuba here in Miami. I think that has something to do with the political situation in Cuba as to why it's being held in Miami, or could just be because there are choke Cubans in that town, man. If you like Cuban food or Cuban culture, you're not going to do better than Miami, and specifically, it seemed like South Beach. You can't find Dominican or Puerto Rican food in South Beach, but you can find 24 Cuban restaurants within like a couple blocks. It's great. Speaking of breaking up stereotypes, you want to talk about a very conservative community that people forget is there? And we're going to talk staunch anti-communists. Oh man, Florida Cubans. Good people. Good people. I will say that. I am staunchly anti-communist. That I will confirm. In terms of political opinions, I have no use for socialism or communism. Pump me full of Cuban coffee. I'm going to be real with you. Cuban coffee's all right. Dominican coffee's all right. Puerto Rican coffee's all right. Nah, man. Kona and Ka'u coffee. Oop. No, we do not want to fly this upside down. Kona and Ka'u coffee. That's where it's at. I gotta rep Hawaii there. Come on, we're the only U.S. state because Puerto Rico keeps choosing not to become one. They keep voting to remain a territory. We're the only U.S. state that produces coffee. So, shout out to the Aloha State on that one. But one of the producers from Mr. Global Cuba invited me to take in the show. And see, because he watched, I guess, a little bit of the Supranational stuff. And, I mean, Jamie, bro, I work for the U.S. Navy, and my dad served in the U.S. Air Force for 29 years. What'd you think my opinion was? Yeah, no, I'm very much strongly anti-communist. That one should be very unsurprising if you know anything about me. Anyway, but Mr. Global Cuba, the producer, invited me to the show, and so I asked him, "Hey, Mr. Georgia's chilling with me anyway. Would you mind if I invited him?" And Mr. Georgia's got a lot more pageantry experience than I did, so it worked out great because we talked a lot, and he gave me some really good advice about what works and what didn't. Now, Mr. Georgia didn't make top 5, but he did make top 8, and I think his walk was really good. He was the one right in front of me, right? It was in alphabetical order. So for us, it went Georgia and then Hawaii, right? So I watched Mr. Georgia's walks. I think they were really good. I think he did flub one of the questions on stage, and after the show, or after the question, we went back into the hall behind the stage. Yeah, he admitted as much. He knew he messed up on that one. But I thought his stage presence was great. So That's all right, Nemo. A lot of the audience felt the same way. I'm not mad about it. Again, I know where I fucked up. I can 100% see why they placed both Mr. Texas and Mr. Florida in front of me. I don't think... I want to dispel the rumors. Just because I think someone was trying to sabotage me does not mean I think this competition was rigged against me. That's a loser's mindset. I didn't win. I failed. I got third place because I didn't perform in a way that the judges were looking for. I made mistakes. I fucked up, and I own that. That's the way everyone who didn't win should feel about this competition. And frankly, that's the way Mr. Texas and Miss Louisiana should feel about the competition. They should analyze their performance with a fine-tooth comb to see where they came short, because I'm sure they weren't 10 out of 10 across the board. Nobody ever is. The pursuit of perfection and the pursuit of excellence is endless. The whole point is that the journey is the destination. But we watched the show for Mr. Global Cuba. What I could tell immediately was the production value was a lot higher. That's not to take anything away from Supranational. That is an objective statement. The choreography was very good. I think it's because there was a lot more time leading up to the competition. I think Alan was talking about that too. I had a good conversation with him. We actually went out and grabbed food later that night. He wants to expand on Supranational, and I think his ideas are excellent. What I hope and pray is that he's clever about this. I'll name names because they said to me that they wanted to get involved. Miss Florida, Miss Tennessee, and Miss Texas all are interested in moving a little bit more into the production side. Alan, if you ever watch this video, strongly recommend talking to them because they are going to get picked up by someone else if you don't. They're way too good to be left on the sidelines. Alan, you did a great job, but you're only one person. You had way too much on your plate. That's just the amount of shit I saw you had to do to put this show on is more than one man should have to take on. You need to get some help. That's, again, not a criticism of you, but simply put, if you want to do what you say you want to do and upgrade Mr. Supranational USA to the next level, that's what has to happen. Really hope you'll be back next year. Unfortunately, because I placed top 5, I cannot compete in Mr. Supranational USA next year. However, there are other pageants I can compete in. Whether or not I will, probably not. We'll see. It'd have to be the right situation, right? I have to fly a minimum of 6 hours just to get anywhere for one of these things, and it's not revenue positive the way modeling shows are. I do have New York Fashion Week to look forward to. So I can't sit here and say everything was sunshine and rainbows. It wasn't. That's not to say I hated it, but I walk away from pageantry without the highest opinion. I don't. It was a mixed bag. I would say mostly good, but there were some serious flies in the ointment. That's genuinely how I feel. As for, the production value of Mr. Global Cuba was incredible. They'd been working on this for months in advance, and what was really nice was watching it. There were some differences. There was a lot more emotion expressed, a lot more interplay with the audience, a lot more, guys were going up on stage and doing the hard hands or blowing kisses to the crowd. That's a thing that would definitely fly for the Cuban crowd, would absolutely not fly for Mr. Supranational. But learning that firsthand was a really interesting experience. And learning from Mr. Georgia, that different pageants want different things. It was a really, really great experience. So that was really good. Then later I met up with Alan. We had a meal and met him at one of the bars. It was a good time. Can Americans travel to Cuba yet? We were able to under Obama. I think Trump reversed that, which, okay, here you go. You want a policy that's really fucking stupid? Yes, communism is a bad idea. But embargoing and blocking out Cuba and pretending it's 1965 is equally stupid. Just because a nation is communist doesn't mean we need to have nothing to do with them. I don't think that's smart. One of the big reasons the Russians turned away from communism, now the Russian government has its own current problems right now, namely being an autocratic tyranny, but the reason the Russians turned away from communism in the 1980s is because we interacted with them more, not less. With perestroika, some Western brands were allowed to enter Russia. Levi's was huge in Russia in the 1980s. People were paying, multiple times the value of the underlying product for blue jeans. McDonald's, Pizza Hut, right? Things like that became incredibly big in Russia in the late 80s and the early 90s. Likewise, we opened it up so that Stolishnya vodka could be sold here in the United States, that's a good thing. You want trade even with countries that are ideologically opposed to you. This is why I'm not a huge fan of tariffs. Sitting here and trying to block China out from the world, it wasn't intelligent in the Mao years in the 60s, and it isn't intelligent now. It's one of the reasons I think Richard Nixon is an underrated president. And it had to be a guy like Nixon, a staunch anti-communist, to go and open up China to the rest of the world. That being said, China is still a autocracy and a tyranny, and a lot of what Xi Jinping is doing is worrying me. It's a mixed bag with everything, okay? But overall, again, I really enjoyed that production, and I really enjoyed getting to talk to Alan a little bit more and talking about the show and everything I thought, and a lot of other stuff. Stayed up way too fucking late. Got back to the room at an ungodly hour. I stayed up to like 4 or 5 a lot of these nights. Just so sleep deprived. The next day was pretty chill. Ended up checking out a lot more of South Beach, a lot more of the city. It was a pretty good time. Ended up meeting Mr. Florida and Miss Texas for hanging out, and then the day after that, she made arepas. Woo! That was good shit. Really, really good time. And then I also went and visited the Everglades, and boy howdy do I have the mosquito bites to prove it. Short of the Congaree or southern Louisiana, I mean, this was broad daylight, and these mosquitoes were swarming me. Oh my god, they ate like good, man. They got a good taste of bull. I'll put it this way, I even got my dick eaten on this trip. No, not by anybody else, not by any humans, just by mosquitoes. Seriously, I got mosquito bites in places you shouldn't get mosquito bites because you have clothes on. Them fuckers are vicious. But the Everglades was absolutely gorgeous. I got a rental car for like $16. Shout out Fox Rental Cars over near the airport in Miami. Also shout out to Miami's public transit system. The Metro Mover's under construction, so it's not as good as it should be. And frankly, it moves so slowly that you're better off walking or running or using a bike in most cases. Miami's bike infrastructure is pretty good. And Miami's rail lines are not great, but you can get to the airport in 20 minutes from downtown. That's pretty good. I really think Miami ought to build a rail line out to South Beach because the causeways in between, Miami Beach, the causeways in between Miami Beach and Miami just get clogged up, and buses, there's no BRT, but buses are not going to be able to get over there quickly. That is, as far as transit's concerned, that's really the only major critique I would throw Miami's way. Obviously, it's Florida. There's going to be sprawl. That just kind of is what it is. But a lot of credit to Miami for all the infill and density they're putting in downtown. Brickell's like constantly under construction. Edgewater's the same way. So I have a very positive opinion of Miami, and I will give big credit to, or we're going to go through shout outs now, Mr. and Miss Florida, and to a lesser, well, actually to a similar extent, Miss Texas, who spends a fair amount of time in Miami as well. For that, they were unbelievably gracious hosts. They showed me a lot of great things. They gave me good recommendations, good advice, and I have nothing but incredible things to say about them, especially Mr. Florida. No, really all three of them, but I want to talk about Mr. Florida because he's so young. Dude is 20, and he's already basically a successful self-made man. The man's a risk taker, and if you are into the fashion world or into the pageant world or into the business world or really just want to see someone who's going to be an up-and-coming star, keep an eye on Mr. Florida. He's got a very, very bright future ahead of him. And I can 100% see why the judges placed him in front of me. I have no qualms or regrets about that. Again, this was a fair competition, and I can 100% see why Mr. Florida and Mr. Texas were put over me. The Everglades should be bigger. Who the heck colonized Florida? The whole state should be a national park. No, that's a brain dead take. Miami's a great city, and you can make a sustainable Miami while preserving the Everglades. What else? Okay, that was about it. The 21st flew out. That was the Wednesday. Flew out early, 17 hours in airports and flying. Flew all the way to San Francisco. Fuck you, United. You don't offer free Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi you do offer that you have to pay for is shitty. Just fly Hawaiian. That's my big takeaway from this. Although, to get to Miami, I would have had to fly with some other airline because Hawaiian doesn't really go much further than the West Coast. But yeah, no, Hawaiian is so much better than all the other airlines. That's about it. There's going to be more from International Fashion Week Honolulu as it comes. Tomorrow I will have a normal Pokemon stream again. I'm so ready to get some sleep, get back to the way things should be around here, spend a lot less time with modeling. You know, still some, but this was too much. Now, granted, the reason I even said yes to all these things back to back is because I was expecting to have the DRP buyout, which I got rejected for national security reasons. Oh yeah, models. I never told you this, but my intent was to retire. I got offered the buyout from Elon and Doge. Yeah, I applied for that, and then it got rejected because they don't want nuclear workers quitting. Yes, that's a flex. That's absolutely a flex. I never mentioned that during competition because it just didn't seem appropriate. It felt like stirring up a hornet's nest. But yeah, I took the buyout, and Uncle Sam deems me important enough to where, no, I'm not allowed to leave. Yeah, I feel pretty fucking good about that. Is Hawaiian more affordable than Frontier or Spirit? Hell no, dude! You get what you pay for. Frontier and Spirit are awful. Anyway, we're gonna get back to the normal stream of things. I am going to an after party for International Fashion Week Honolulu today. It's over at Bellows Air Force Base, and it is 10:30, so my ass has to get going. Shoots, I will see y'all later. As always, y'all, make good decisions. Those good decisions form your actions. Those actions form your habits. Those habits form your values. And those values form an ethos and be the guide start through the rough waters of life. Deal with others with integrity and be pono. Okay? Deal with righteousness. Don't stoop to other people's levels. Much love, y'all. Come in for the hug. See you tomorrow. And if any other models or anybody from the fashion scene from Miami or from Honolulu wants to talk about any of the content I have made in this video today, hit me up. You know where to find me. AskBullMuscle@gmail.com if you want a consultation. I'm just saying, maybe I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Cheers. See y'all later. Neem, yes, I made a bunch of posts on Instagram. Go look them up.